Hey guys, this is Kevin from Wrestling Rambles 89. Be sure to subscribe for more WWE and pro wrestling news and information. Stone Cold Steve Austin is one of the biggest stars in the history of pro wrestling, taking the WWF to new heights during the infamous Attitude Era with his rivalry against Vince McMahon, and bringing in ratings the likes of which hasn't been seen before or since. Stone Cold has had many classic matches and feuds, but today we'll be taking a look at 5 wrestlers that Stone Cold Steve Austin refused to put over and lose to. Number 5 on the list is Eric Watts. Back before he shot to fame as the fierce-willing, anti-authority, anti-hero known as Stone Cold, Steve Austin was wrestling for WWF's rival company, WCW. During his time there, Austin was already earning praise for his good matches with the likes of Sting and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, whom he would often have broadways, also known as time limit draws, with. Austin also had some broadways with the newcomer Eric Watts, but refused Grizzly Smith's order to lose to him. Eric Watts was trained by his father, legendary promoter and wrestler Bill Watts, and after wrestling for only 3 months, Eric Watts was hired by WCW. He debuted in 1992 and was undefeated for 3 months. Eric Watts would defeat the likes of Scotty Flamingo, also known as Raven, Vinny Vegas, Michael Hayes, and even a rookie Diamond Dallas Page. Despite not really standing out, Watts was given consistent pushes and victories over bigger stars, leading to resentment over him getting special treatment just for being the son of the booker. When Austin was asked to do the job for him, he flat out refused, stating his case that he was getting time limit draws and working with big stars, and that Watts shouldn't be beating him so early in his career. Austin instead went to a draw with Watts, and was warned by Dusty Rhodes that his refusal to put Watts over nearly cost him his job. Austin stood his ground, however, and simply told Rhodes that he was sorry, but he felt that he is better than that, by which I mean losing to Watts. Number 4 on the list is Marc Mero. During the mid to late 90s, Vince McMahon saw the Johnny B. Bad character in WCW and snapped him up for his growing company. Not being able to use the Johnny B. Bad name or gimmick in WWF, he instead became known as Marc Mero. Mero was a legitimate Golden Gloves boxing champion, and so was given a boxing gimmick to match. McMahon reportedly had high hopes for Mero, and was hoping a feud with his new star, Stone Cold Steve Austin, would get Mero over as well. At first, Austin had no problems working with Mero, but that all changed when Marc Mero allowed his wife, former WWE valet Sable, to powerbomb him on live TV. There were already people saying Sable was more popular than her husband, and the powerbomb made her even more so. Unfortunately, that had the effect of also killing all of Mero's momentum and credibility up to that point. Austin and Mero were due to feud soon after, but Stone Cold immediately refused to do anything other than squash Mero soon after, since he believed it made no sense that one of their biggest stars would have any trouble whatsoever in beating someone who got beat up by his tiny wife on TV. Legendary manager and promoter Jim Cornette mentioned the incident in a previous shoot interview, saying, "It was around 20 minutes after Mero allowed Sable to powerbomb his ass we got a phone call from Steve Austin, who was due to wrestle Mero the week after, saying, yeah, about the match we were going to do. If he just got powerbombed by a 120-pound woman, why would Stone Cold Steve Austin waste any time with him other than to whoop his ass in 15 seconds? It was downhill from there. His career was irreparably damaged." Number 3 on the list is Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett is mainly known these days as the face of TNA and of Global Force Wrestling, but Jarrett also had a long career as a wrestler in many promotions, including the USWA, WCW, and the WWF. In his early days, Austin had a run in the Memphis territory under Jeff Jarrett's father, Jerry Jarrett. Austin has always resented the fact he was paid so little by Jerry Jarrett that he had to live on nothing but boiled potatoes, while the rookie Jeff Jarrett was being paid a high salary and living in a mansion. It's also rumored that one day, looking at his paycheck in disbelief and being paid only a few dollars, Jeff Jarrett slapped Austin on the back, laughing, and telling him that staring at the numbers wouldn't make the numbers on his paycheck grow any bigger. Before Jarrett came back to the WWF, One of the things that enticed him to sign was the promise of a feud with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Jarrett never really got over at the time with fans, but was still angling for a feud with Austin, cutting a word-shoot promo on not only WCW, but also on Austin, in which he claimed Austin was ripping off and disgracing the Bible just to make money. Austin wasn't aware of the promo beforehand, and according to multiple backstage accounts from the likes of Vince Russo and Bruce Pritchard, Austin was absolutely livid with this, and stood swearing and cursing Jeff Jarrett to his face for making him look bad and potentially costing him his well-earned money and popularity. Jarrett backed down and apologized to Austin, but after that, Austin refused to work any match or program with Jarrett ever again, cursing out WWE creative staff just 6 months later when they wanted him to try and work with Jarrett once again. Number 2 on the list is none other than the immortal Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan is arguably the biggest star in the history of pro wrestling, crossing over into Hollywood and becoming a household name that launched the first WrestleMania and the WWF to huge mainstream popularity. With his return to WWE as part of the NWO Invasion storyline, many had hoped for a clash between the biggest stars of their respective generations, Hulk Hogan vs Stone Cold Steve Austin, at WrestleMania. Instead, however, Hogan wrestled The Rock, while Austin faced Scott Hall. Stone Cold included Hulk Hogan in his infamous ECW promo, where he cussed out the people in WCW who he felt held him back and stopped him from getting over while there. Austin had often pitched working with Hogan in WCW, but was constantly turned down. Hogan also had a reputation as a backstage politician who would often refuse to do the favor for other stars, so Austin was hesitant to risk his current position in WWE as the top star that took him so long to earn. Austin has come to admit that he regrets not putting their differences aside to have the dream match fans had hoped for, but in a past interview with Jim Ross, he alluded to the fact that he was already feeling hard-headed and burned out, and when he heard rumors around the locker room that Hogan wasn't planning on doing any jobs for anyone, the idea of working with Hulk Hogan ended for him that day. Number 1 on the list is Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar was a huge star in WWE even in his rookie years. Stone Cold Steve Austin himself has frequently stated his refusal to do the job for Lesnar in that time period was the biggest regret of his career. At the time, Lesnar was only a rookie, but already pegged to be a huge star for the company. Brock Lesnar was paired with the legendary Paul Heyman, who dubbed him the next big thing, and Lesnar easily defeated everyone in his path, from 2-on-1 handicap matches to 1-on-1 wins against the likes of Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan. During this initial push, Austin was asked to lose on what Austin would call a random throwaway episode of Monday Night Raw. Stone Cold was already dealing with burnout and mounting injuries at the time, so when he heard that he would have to lose clean to a rookie after all the years he had given the company, Austin was furious. He soon packed his bags and left the company, telling officials that there was no way he would do it, leading to Vince McMahon and the WWE getting the wrestlers to cut infamous promos on him with the now notorious phrase of taking his ball and going home. Stone Cold has often said if it had been at a pay-per-view, or if there were a bigger story behind losing, he would have gladly done it, but the way WWE wanted to do things was just stupid in his view. To this day, Lesnar and Austin remain friends, and Stone Cold still maintains his stance that while he shouldn't have walked away completely, his decision to not lose on a throwaway episode of Raw made perfect sense. So there we have the top 5 people who Stone Cold Steve Austin refused to put over. This video is longer than my usual ones, but I had a lot of fun making it. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like so I know if you guys are interested in more Stone Cold and more pro wrestling top 5s or even top 10s. But for now, this is Wrestling Rambles 89, signing off.